You know, when you think of Ireland, your mind probably jumps to ancient castles and these incredible rolling green hills, right? But to really get to the heart of its modern soul, you've got to look somewhere else. So let's take a tour of the 10 cities that are truly shaping Ireland's past, its present, and its future.
It's a pretty big question, isn't it? If you really want to get under the skin of a country like Ireland, its history, its economy, its whole identity, where do you even start?
Well, the answer is actually simpler than you might think. You start with its cities. Because these places, they're not just a bunch of buildings. No, they are the living, breathing engines of the entire nation's economy. And they're the places where its culture is being forged every single day. And that story, it absolutely has to begin with Dublin. It is the nation's center of gravity. It's the undisputed main character in this whole story. You see, Dublin is what geographers call a primate city. And this term, it's fascinating because it just nails Dublin's role perfectly. It basically means its influence, the sheer concentration of people, of money, of power, is just so much bigger, so disproportionately large compared to every other city in the country. Okay, so let's put some numbers on this whole primate city idea. First up, people. That's over 1.1 million people just in the urban area. But get this, when you look at the whole metro area, you're talking about more than a quarter of the entire country's population. That's a staggering number of people, all in one spot. And now let's talk about the money. That is almost 250 billion euros. That's Dublin's gross domestic product. To put that into perspective, this one city's economy is bigger than entire countries like Croatia or Lithuania. It is the economic engine of the whole nation, no question. So what does all that economic might mean for the people actually living there? Well, this number is the average disposable income per person. At over 32,000 euros, it's a solid 14% higher than the national average. So you start to add it all up, the population, the economic output, the personal wealth, and you really see just how dominant Dublin is. And all of this creates this incredible density. We're talking almost 4,000 people packed into every single square kilometer. And that density, that's the secret sauce. It's what sparks the collaboration, the innovation, and just the raw energy that makes Dublin the undeniable core of modern Ireland. So, where's all this power coming from? Well, just look at this chart. That huge chunk, 38.5%, that's information and communication. We're talking about the Silicon Docks, which is home to the European headquarters of absolute giants like Google, Microsoft, and Meta. But look, if Dublin is the sun in this solar system, it is definitely not the only star. The story of Ireland is also being written by its powerful regional engines, and each one has its own completely unique economic identity. And right away, you see this huge contrast. While Dublin is all about the big tech headquarters and software, our next city, Cork, has carved out a totally different but just as powerful niche on the world stage. Welcome to Cork, the rebel capital. And by the way, don't be surprised if a local tells you with a bit of a wink that it's the real capital of Ireland. Now, while it is home to Apple's European headquarters, its real heavy-hitter status comes from something else entirely, pharmaceuticals. This place is a world-class hub for giants like Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson. Wow, okay, this chart tells such an amazing story. Look at the bar on the left representing Cork's region. A massive 74% of its economic value comes from industry. Now look at Dublin's bar on the right. It's just under 13%. It's the perfect picture of two totally different economic models, both driving the Irish economy forward. All right, let's head north to Belfast. This city was once an industrial capital of the world, building legendary ships like the Titanic. But it has completely reinvented itself. Today, it's a leader in things like Fintech and cybersecurity, and it's a huge creative hub. You might even recognize some of its scenery from Game of Thrones.
And then you've got Limerick, a city with a deep, deep passion for sport, especially rugby. But its modern story is one of an incredible comeback. It's transformed itself from an agricultural center into a key player in high-tech services and advanced engineering.
Okay, so we've seen the economic powerhouses. Now let's shift gears a bit and explore the cities that really represent the deeper historical and cultural soul of the island.
First up, Galway. And Galway is just this city of wonderful contrasts. On one hand, it's a global hub for medical technology, with companies like Medtronic and Boston Scientific doing cutting-edge work there. But on the other hand, it's the absolute bohemian heart of the West Coast,
famous for its incredible arts festivals and street performers.
From the vibrant West, we're going to travel way back in time, over to the southeast. Because to find Ireland's oldest city, you have to go to Waterford. It was founded by Vikings over 1,000 years ago, and you can just feel the layers of history here, from the Norman conquest all the way up to the creation of its world-famous crystal.
And speaking of preserved history, it's tough to beat Kilkenny, also known as the Marble City. Its medieval mile, it's literally like walking through a storybook. It connects this magnificent castle, the historic home of Smithwick's Brewing, and a cathedral whose roots stretch all the way back to the 6th century. It's just incredible. So we have all these distinct, really powerful cities. The big question now is, how do they all fit together? What do they tell us about the Ireland of tomorrow? You know, this table really pulls the whole picture together. You can see all the unique identities we've been talking about, right? From Dublin's tech scene to Cork's pharma dominance. But it also fills in the gaps, showing us other key cities like Derry, with its historic walls, or Armagh, the ecclesiastical capital. What becomes really clear is that Ireland isn't just one thing. It's a mosaic, and each of these cities is a unique and vital piece. And this is where it gets really interesting, because this is where national strategy comes into play. The Irish government has something called the National Planning Framework, and its whole goal is to try and balance things out. The idea is to strengthen these regional cities, to create a more spread out, resilient national economy, instead of just letting everything get pulled into Dublin. So when you boil it all down, it really comes back to this one central question of balance. Ireland's future really is a tale of 10 cities. And the great challenge, but also the great opportunity, is figuring out how to manage the incredible gravitational pull of Dublin, while at the same time nurturing the unique strengths of its 9 regional stars. Finding that balance, well, that's what's going to define the next chapter of the Irish story.